the first thing that came to my mind was that लगता है हिंदू कभी भी पीछा नहीं छोड़ने वाला है. So the Hindu becomes such a great part of our lives, and I think this is where I want to start my talk with, that me standing here today and you standing here tomorrow, there is absolutely no difference at all. And it might seem that there is nothing common between us and that I'm a very different person than probably what you are. But trust me, the only gap is the gap of believing in yourself that you, each one of you who's sitting here, can actually cross the bridge and be whatever you want to be. And this is exactly the correct mindset with which you have to begin your preparation. Don't ever think that some person who is giving a talk, who's telling you how to clear this exam, is much larger than you or much bigger than you, or the portrait of a person who has cleared this exam is something that is very unachievable. Each one of you who is sitting here can actually very well clear this exam. और इसी बात से हम शुरू करेंगे कि कोई भी ऐसा यहाँ पे इंसान नहीं है जिसको ऐसा लगे कि UPSC is not my cup of tea. But tell me, how many of you feel कि हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा, UPSC तो बहुत ही मुश्किल है, मेरे बस की बात नहीं है? Nobody feels that way. Some of you feel that way. Great. Because in my journey, I all the time used to feel this way, that UPSC is a very tough exam, and that was mostly because I came from a very unrelated background. And when I came initially in 2018, I started preparing, and at that time I had no idea as to what to do, how to prepare. I just knew that you have to take coaching and that's it, and then you become an IAS. Because here also, so I had no idea about other services. There's only IAS, मतलब सारे coaching के नाम में भी IAS, and here also the journey is from campus to collectorate, but unfortunately neither of the speakers are going to the collectorate. So yeah. So I think the basic premise about beginning this preparation is very important, because beginning is the most important part. They say that well begun is half done. तो beginning में क्या mindset होना चाहिए? You can have 3 types of mindset. या तो आप ये सोच सकते हैं कि UPSC बहुत tough है, this is not something I can do and this is not my cup of tea, and just be scared and not take it up. The other mindset is that you think UPSC will be done in a jiffy and मतलब मैं तो first attempt में first rank बस बढ़िया है. So both the mindsets are not correct. You understand that you have to have a very balanced approach, which is very optimistic. You need to see and tell yourself that I am ready to appear for an exam, which is definitely tough, but I'm also ready to give my all and prepare the most for this exam, for the time to come, for the next 1 year of my life. So I think there is a lot of stigma built around government exams, and mostly about failing government exams. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि हम एक अटेम्प्ट दे देते हैं और फिर हमें लगता है कि एक और अटेम्प्ट हो जाएगा, फिर एक और अटेम्प्ट हो जाएगा. Then how will we face the society, or how will we face the world? And बहुत बार ऐसा होता है that we're too scared if we'll be able to clear this exam in first attempt or not, or get the desired rank or not. But the first and the foremost thing that you have to do is that ये जो attempts का stigma है, just get that stigma out of your head. Because trust me, once you enter the services, there is none of your colleagues, none of your seniors, none of your juniors, nobody would ever ask you कि आपका कौन से अटेम्प्ट में क्लियर हुआ, या आपकी क्या रैंक थी, या anything, what was your preference, did you get your first preference or not. These things are the things which are vastly affecting people who are preparing, who are outside the circle of UPSC. And ये चीज़ें इतनी ज़्यादा importance ले लेती हैं कि ये हमारे बहुत सारे decisions को determine करने लगती हैं. And when these things start determining your decisions, हम fearful हो जाते हैं, and fear becomes our driving factor rather than motivation. तो क्या होता है जब हम डर से अपने डिसीजंस लेते हैं, तो फियर इज एन इमोशन विच इज ड्रिवन बाय एड्रेनलिन. तो हमें इंस्टेंट रिजल्ट्स चाहिए होते हैं, जैसे सर ने बोला इंस्टेंट ग्रेटिफिकेशन चाहिए होता है. सो व्हेनेवर वी आर अफ्रेड वी नीड इंस्टेंट रिजल्ट्स, इंस्टेंट ग्रेटिफिकेशन, एंड वी एंड अप टेकिंग डिसीजंस बेस्ड ऑन एंजाइटी रादर देन विजडम. तो आपका कोई भी डिसीजन हो, ये फियर पे बेस्ड नहीं होना चाहिए कि अगर मेरा फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में नहीं हुआ तो लोग क्या बोलेंगे, तो मेरे बैचमेट्स क्या सोचेंगे, और हाउ विल आई गो टू लबासना एंड फेस पीपल एंड टेल देम दैट नो इट वाजंट माय फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट. No, get out of this mindset, and that is the first and foremost thing you have to do to start your preparation. So how many of you here have started your preparation or in the middle of it? That's a good number. And how many of you are thinking of preparing? So that's good. Like, it's good to think, and it's good to take your time and form a decision and see. And I think beginning में अगर मैं दो बातें कहूँ तो यही बातें होंगी. First, think and see, and secondly, like, take your time and don't be afraid. After that, I'll say that one thing which I feel is very, very important is that self-awareness. So अभी introduction के time ही sir was saying कि आप सुबह आप क्यों उठते हो, तो so sir answered that नींद पूरी हो जाती है. But in my case, I was someone जिसकी नींद कभी पूरी नहीं हुई. तो for starting 2 years of my preparation, I was completely fighting this fact. I had heard and read at a lot of places that if you wake up at 4 a.m. or if you wake up at 6 a.m., you're like most intelligent, most hardworking, most intellectual capacities are arisen. But if I used to wake up at 4 a.m., I would study for 2 hours and sleep for the entire day. So it was not working out for me. So the turning point of my preparation came when I started realizing that I should do what works for myself. And what worked for myself, it worked that if I wake up at 8 a.m. and I study till 10 p.m. at night, that is the best time which I can give for my preparation. Because people are either early risers or, night crawlers or whatever, but I was neither. मेरे को रात को भी जल्दी सोना होता था, सुबह भी लेट उठना होता था. So then, according to me, I made my timetable so that I can take out the maximum amount of time in the duration of the day I have. So then, how to take out the maximum amount of time? Because पूरी रात जाग के नहीं पढ़ेंगे तो इतने hours कहाँ से आएंगे, इतने घंटे कहाँ से आएंगे? So trust me, if we say that someone studies for 14 hours in a day, 14 hours in a day, you can study for 1 day, you can study for 2 days, but you cannot study that much for an entire year. So what I used to do, I had a stopwatch. I had bought it बहुत ही randomly, बहुत ही सस्ते में. I had got one stopwatch and I thought 2 दिन में खराब हो जाएगी. But fortunately it's still working and it's still with me. So that stopwatch was there, and whenever I used to study, I used to switch on the stopwatch. And whenever I used to take a break, कि कभी पानी पीने के लिए उठे हैं या कभी खाना खाने के लिए जा रहे हैं, और randomly just looking at your phone, at that time I would switch off the stopwatch. तो stopwatch से मेरा लक्ष्य होता था कि 8 hours दिन में आए. And that stopwatch was my best friend for the entire duration of preparation. And so the two things how it helped me was that it made me disciplined also and it made me focused also. Because every day I had to study 8 hours, नहीं तो फिर सो नहीं सकते, मतलब 8 घंटे जल्दी खत्म होंगे तो you can sleep early, and sleep was a major motivation. So in that way, that stopwatch actually became a very important part of my preparation, and this helped me because it suited me really well. So you have to understand what suits you or what does not suit you. A lot of times people say that note making is very, very important, and I absolutely agree. Note making is very important. It is so important that I've got my notes here as to what to speak. so in that case, yes, definitely it is important. But I realized that there were a lot of books
in UPSC preparation for prelims, in which when I was making notes, I would get very tired and it would double up my work. So in that case, I decided I will not make notes and I will read from the book only. So you have to choose and you have to do what suits the best for you, and that should be the basic premise of your preparation. कि अपने हिसाब से चलना है. You know, there would be 10 people saying 10 different things, and mostly ऐसा होता है that people are just repeating what they keep hearing without realizing if it is correct or not or if it is true or not. तो मेरी मदर मुझे एक पोइट्री सुनाती थी बचपन में. तो उसके 4 लाइनें ऐसे थे कि राजा बोला रात है, मंत्री बोला रात है, सिपाही बोला रात है, ये सुबह सुबह की बात है. तो always keep this in mind, that even if 10 people say something and you feel that you have to do something, just listen to yourself, because UPSC is an exam which is not something that एक ही टेम्पलेट पे सब लोग वैसे कर लेंगे. You really need to understand what makes you the happiest. And ऐसा बहुत कहते हैं that you should do something which you love, and unless you love the preparation, you won't be able to clear it. And I absolutely agree that it is very important to like how your day is going, how your routine is going. But इसके साथ एक और बात मैं ये कहूँगी कि loving something does not mean that it will not frustrate you, और ऐसा नहीं होगा that if you love your preparation then all days would be very rosy and the preparation would go by like a very nice Shah Rukh Khan movie. That will not happen. आपके भी दिन खराब आएंगे और बहुत ज़्यादा बुरे दिन आएंगे, लेकिन if you love it and if you are passionate about it, then that would keep you going. That will not make you give up. And when we say that you should read the newspaper, you should read the Hindu, you should read this, that. So one more thing that you need to understand about UPSC preparation is that it is not just fact collection. आप newspaper पढ़ के सिर्फ facts नहीं collect कर रहे हैं. You are actually honing your other attributes. For example, if you read the newspaper, आपकी reading speed बढ़ती है, आपकी understanding capacity बढ़ती है, आपकी grasping power बढ़ती है. And I often used to wonder during my preparation days that I am reading so much, how will it ever be helpful in the service? I have to go in foreign service, what am I doing reading all this? But no, each and everything that you do during your preparation time is actually very helpful for you in the services. They say that UPSC does not make officers, it takes officers. So you have to be that person already. If you're not ready to slog for 8 to 12 hours in a day, how do you think कि आप कल field में जाके 12 घंटे काम कर पाएंगे? And the job, I'm telling all of you here that in spite of the rosy pictures, in spite of social media glorification, the job has a lot of challenges. It is a very responsible job. It is something that requires a lot of moral courage, and I think to be a good officer, you need to be a good aspirant first, who knows how to do hard work, who knows how to stay consistent, and who can actually go there and say that yes, I am capable of doing this. You know, I am capable that किसी ने मुझसे कुछ पूछा तो मैं उसको तुरंत 5 pro points, 5 cons points बता सकूं. You need to become that person so that you become a better officer tomorrow. And there's this very common word known as FOMO, that is fear of missing out. So fear of missing out बहुत ज़्यादा होता है UPSC में. You know, I had this very great fear of missing out कि Old Rajendra Nagar में पता नहीं क्या होता है, I'm missing that out. So I joined coaching and I thought but people stay here, people join libraries. So I started having that fear of missing out again. So I joined libraries also. Only to realize that, you know, if you keep running behind your fear of missing things out, whenever I used to go to the bookstore, to the market, I would pick up books. I feel, अरे ये वाला किताब तो बहुत important लग रहा है, मैंने नहीं पढ़ा है, my roommate is reading that. So, if you're taking your decisions based on fear of missing out, you are missing out on the larger picture, the bigger picture, that is clearing this exam. And I used to fear this a lot, that I did not have any mentor or any guide, or I did not have any guidance, because I came from a very unrelated background where people in my college did not used to prepare for this exam. So half the time, half the duration of my preparation, मैं बहुत परेशान रहती थी कि मेरे पास गाइडेंस नहीं है इसलिए मेरा होगा नहीं क्लियर. एंड ऑल्सो ट्रस्ट मी, यू योरसेल्फ आर योर बिगेस्ट एंड बेस्ट गाइड. जितना आप खुद को गाइड कर सकते हैं उतना कोई नहीं कर सकता. एंड कैसे करेंगे गाइड? वंस यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग इनटू द प्रिपरेशन. जब आप धीरे धीरे प्रिपरेशन में चलते हैं तो कहते हैं कि रास्ता ही रास्ते को दिखाता है. जब आप उस रास्ते पे चलेंगे तभी आपको दिखेगा कि आगे अगला कौन सा रास्ता है और कौन सा रास्ता आगे लेना है. सो डोंट बी अफ्रेड ऑफ मिसिंग आउट थिंग्स एंड नोज डाइव इनटू थिंग्स. धीरे धीरे आप चलिए, धीरे धीरे प्लान बनाइए. ऑटोमेटिकली यू विल स्टार्ट फाइंडिंग वेज एंड यू विल स्टार्ट डेवलपिंग अ पर्सपेक्टिव. एंड दिस इज व्हाई दिस एग्जाम रिक्वायर्स अ लॉट ऑफ पेशेंस. पेशेंस बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि धीरे धीरे ही आपको पता लगता है. अगर मैं यहाँ पे आके अभी कुछ बता रही हूँ एग्जाम के बारे में, सो दैट इज आफ्टर 3 years ऑफ प्रिपरेशन, आफ्टर सम years ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस एग्जाम एंड थिंकिंग हाउ इट इज गोइंग. सो डोंट नोज डाइव, डोंट बी हरीड, टेक योर टाइम. जितना टाइम लगे डिसीजन बनाने में, अंडरस्टैंड एंड बी कंसिस्टेंट. You know, we often go to YouTube and see motivational videos and motivation ye wo, but always remember that motivation will only get you started. It is discipline which will keep you going. Motivation आपको बस initiate कर सकता है, आपको हल्का सा push दे सकता है. But अगर आप disciplined हो तो even in your bad days you're giving your 100% with or without motivation. So stop being motivation hungry. Don't run behind motivation. Be your own motivation. Your discipline and your hard work should be your motivation. And talking about hard work, one more thing that I want to say is that a lot of times in topper talks and in a lot of things, we see a lot of exceptions. हमें लगता है कि किसी ने 4 महीने पढ़ के एग्जाम क्लियर कर लिया, किसी ने एकदम बिना कुछ पढ़े इंटरव्यू क्लियर कर लिया, एथिक्स के लिए नहीं पढ़ा फिर भी हाईएस्ट मार्क्स आ गए एथिक्स में. वी कीप हियरिंग सच स्टोरीज एंड एग्रीड दैट दोज आर वेरी ब्रिलियंट स्टोरीज, बट यू ऑल्सो नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू डू नॉट हैव टू आइडियलाइज एक्सेप्शंस. आपका आइडियल होना चाहिए हार्ड वर्क. यू नो, इफ यू विल आइडियलाइज दैट मैं भी 4 महीने पढ़ के एग्जाम क्लियर करूंगा, योर स्ट्रैटेजी विल नॉट फॉर्मुलेट. आप ठीक तरह से स्ट्रैटेजाइज ही नहीं कर पाएंगे. अगर आप सोचेंगे कि मैं बिना एथिक्स पढ़े एथिक्स का पेपर दूंगा, सो दैट विल गेट यू इनटू ट्रबल. तो कभी भी एक्सेप्शंस आइडियलाइज नहीं करें. डेफिनेटली इफ देयर इज अ बैच ऑफ 750 पीपल, देयर वुड बी 50 पीपल जिनके लिए ये एक्सेप्शंस वर्क किए, बट देयर आर 700 अदर पीपल जिन्होंने पूरे साल भर स्लॉग किया है एंड देन दे गॉट देयर रिजल्ट्स. So always remember that don't try to take a shortcut. Whenever we are traveling, we often get 2 ways. एक रास्ता होता है जो शॉर्टकट होता है, इजीली पहुंचाता है आपको, और एक रास्ता होता है जो लंबा होता है, जिसमें पहाड़ होते हैं, जिसमें डेस्टिनेशन दिख नहीं रही होती. But don't take those shortcuts, because shortcuts, there is a reason they are called shortcuts, because वो आपको long term success शायद नहीं दें. The last में 2 more things which I want to talk about is that one thing that is very important in this exam is enjoying your own company. हमें आदत नहीं होती अकेले रहने की. We are in college, we are young and we are surrounded by friends and we have so many things going on. Social media है, you know, OTT platforms हैं. So we usually are not very used to being alone. But why this exam becomes difficult is because you have to spend time with your own self. 24 घंटे अकेले books के साथ, not for a few days but literally for an entire year. So you need to be very happy in spending time with yourself, not just for clearing this exam, but because tomorrow when you go to your districts, when you go to your posting, there is a very high amount of possibility that you are taking up all the responsibility, all the challenges alone. And अगर आपने इस प्रिपरेशन के फेज में ये नहीं सोचा कि ये नहीं डेवलप किया अपने अंदर to be happy while staying alone, then that will become a problem when you go as an officer to your districts or to your postings where you have to do so many things and all alone. So you need to be very brave, very bold and very courageous, and whenever you feel that ये नहीं हो रहा है मुझसे, या ये करने की क्या जरूरत है, या ये नहीं करना है, imagine yourself as an officer that you're going to be and your job demands all this. आपका motivation exam clear करना नहीं है, आपका motivation है to become that officer which the entire country would be proud of. And if you want to be that officer, then आपको आज से ही अपने preparation days के time से ही अपनी पर्सनैलिटी को ऐसे मोल्ड करना होगा that you can work hard for 12 hours, that you can stay happy in your own company, and that you can take decisions and not run behind anything that sparkles. And you know, one day I was watching this video on YouTube where someone was telling that what is this one thing that you will tell your younger self to. And I also started thinking that what is this one thing that I would tell my younger self to. And I thought a lot, और finally मैंने ये realize किया that if there is just one thing I want to tell to myself 3 years back, it would be to not be fooled by the very glamorous, very glorified images that this entire exam creates. Definitely it is worth it, definitely it is very great, but never feel underconfident because of the images created. You know, take them as motivation, take them positively, but don't take them as the thing. It is just a part of life. The pictures on social media, the things everyone posts, it is just one part of life. Don't aim for glamorous rosy pictures. Aim for the job that you want to do. Aim for the officer that you want to become. And that is one thing I wish I knew earlier. So I would not have doubted myself so much during my preparation days, because I'm telling you, if I can do it, any one of you sitting here can do it. And lastly, one thing I'd like to say about service preference is that choose your service wisely. We often think just till the exam, हमें लगता है exam clear करना सबसे important task है. But the next 30 years after you clear this exam, you're going to be in a service. And that job you have to do for the rest of your life. So know yourself, know your personality, know what you want to do for the rest of your life. And lastly, I just say that, you know, at some point of our lives, we all fail, definitely. Failure is not something to be ashamed of. We all fail, and if we fail, it just means that we are trying. But I would like to tell you all that even if we fall, let us fall forward so that at least we are an inch closer to success. So that we are not falling behind, we are falling ahead. So it's okay to fail. And you know, the best things in life don't come when you're sitting and waiting that it will automatically come. It will come only when you get up, tie your laces and start running. Because it is not a matter of when. It is not a matter of if you will clear this exam. It is a matter of when you will clear this exam, and that entirely depends on you. So thank you.